Hello, and welcome to the Manheim Township Middle School Team Assembly. This is Mr. Hall, the 7th grade assistant principal.
And Ms. Cohen, the 8th grade assistant principal.
And we're going to walk you through some of the expectations, rules, and regulations of Manheim Township Middle School. The primary goal of Manheim Township Middle School is to ensure the academic success and social-emotional development of each young adolescent.
Important individuals at MTMS include Mrs. Resch, our building principal, Mr. Hull, who you just heard from, our 7th grade assistant principal, me, Ms. Cohen, our 8th grade assistant principal, Mrs. Chapman, our admin secretary, Mrs. Nagel, our attendance secretary, Mr. Bates, our 7th grade counselor, Mrs. Chitwood, our 8th grade counselor, and Mrs. Minnick, our counseling secretary.
All of the rules and regulations that we are going to share with you in this presentation can also be found in your student handbook, which is located on your iPad and on the district website.
We have high expectations of our students, including that we expect our students to assume responsibility for being where you belong when you are supposed to be there, to have the things that you need in order to be successful, and for doing the things you are asked to do to the best of your ability and with consistency. We expect that you respect teachers' right to teach and the right of other students to learn. We expect that you interact with others in a positive manner that allows us to create a healthy school environment where students feel physically and emotionally safe.
At Manheim Township Middle School, we recognize and appreciate that your choice of clothing allows you to express who you are as an individual. However, the middle school is a place of business for staff and students and exists primarily to provide all students with the best education possible. Any student dress that interferes with the teaching and learning process or disrupts the educational environment of the school will be addressed and students will be held accountable. And it's always a great idea to keep an extra set of clothes in your locker.
Some of our biggest concerns related to dress code: short and skirt hemlines that are too short. The bottom edge of your clothing must be no shorter than fingertip length unless you're wearing leggings beneath these garments. Bottoms that have holes shorter than fingertip length are also not allowed unless leggings are worn underneath. Additional big concerns are unacceptable tops. Tops that are cut too low, straps that are thinner than 2 fingers width or don't cover undergarment straps, tops that are too short, or pants that are cut too low, revealing midriff. Tops must be long enough to show no midriff, front or back, while you are walking around or while you're seated in classrooms. Tops and bottoms that are sheer and revealing are simply not allowed. Saggy pants are another concern that we have at the middle school. We do have suspenders in the office. Shorts and pants must be worn over the hips so that no undergarments are visible. Cloaking with an oversized shirt is also not acceptable. Clothes with hoods cannot be worn on your head. There should be no head coverings, hats, bandanas, etc., unless it's for a health reason or religious purposes. There should also be no book bags, backpacks, fanny packs, purses, wristlets, etc.
Lunch this school year at Manheim Township Middle School looks a little bit different. We offer seating for 1 or 2 students per table. The food services staff and lunch monitor decisions are final. Students are responsible for cleaning up their own mess and cleaning down their table. And masks may be removed during lunch so that way you can eat. But if you want to get up from your table to go use the restroom, please make sure that you raise your hand and a teacher will come over and dismiss you. And then put your mask on and go use the restroom facility.
Disciplinary consequences at the middle school are progressive and intended to change behaviors. We want students to make better choices in the future when placed in similar situations. The middle school operates on a simple behavioral system: behaviors that receive strikes and behaviors that receive office referrals. Some examples, but we are not limited to simply these, of behaviors that would result in a strike include talking in class, pushing, being out of your seat, arguing, being unprepared for class, fooling around, running in the hallway, or being late to class. Behaviors that would constitute referrals include AUP, acceptable use policy, and electronic device violations, play fighting or slapboxing, drugs, alcohol, tobacco, nicotine delivery devices, weapons, swearing, fighting, stealing, vandalism, racism, plagiarism, disrespect to teachers and staff, horseplay, or controlled substances or paraphernalia.
Teachers will follow a strike system in their classroom. When a rule is broken in the classroom, a student will receive a strike from that teacher. Strike 1 is essentially a warning. Strike 2 is a contact home to parent or guardian. Strike 3 is a teacher assigned detention and communication home. And Strike 4 is a referral to administration. All students start with a clean slate at the beginning of each marking period.
Disciplinary consequences, specifically administrative detention. An admin detention is assigned by a principal. Admin detentions are from 2:40 p.m. until 4 o'clock p.m. Detention is held twice a week on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Students must either be picked up by an adult at the middle school at 4 o'clock p.m. or you may ride the activity bus home.
The Manheim Township School Board believes that the middle school should help students learn to respect property and develop feelings of pride in community institutions, and charges each student with the responsibility for the proper care of the school property, school supplies, and equipment. Vandalizing school district property, buildings, or grounds is a violation of the Pennsylvania School Code and is punishable by suspension, expulsion, or even arrest.
At the middle school, we define disorderly conduct in the following way. A person is guilty of disorderly conduct if, with intent to cause public inconvenience, annoyance or alarm, or recklessly creating a risk thereof, he or she engages or threatens to engage in fighting, makes unreasonable noise, uses obscene language or makes an obscene gesture, performs a hazardous or physically offensive act that serves no legitimate purpose.
At Manheim Township Middle School, we define harassment as any physical, verbal, or nonverbal behavior that has the purpose or effect of creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive school environment and/or interferes with an individual's academic performance or learning opportunities. We also define bullying as the intentionally hurting someone physically, with words or by actions over and over again, essentially repeated harassment. If someone is bullying you, please tell your teacher, counselor, or principal. For more information about bullying and cyberbullying, please consult School Board Policy 249. Some types of harassment include striking, shoving, kicking, or any other unwanted physical contact towards an individual, attempting or threatening to strike, shove, kick, or subject another person to unwanted physical contact, misuse of technology through the form of teasing, intimidating, or terrorizing another student or teacher, posting inappropriate pictures, using the web, text, Snapchat, Instagram, and/or Facebook and Twitter through cyberbullying, following a person in or about a public place or places, and engaging in conduct or repeatedly committing acts that serve no legitimate purpose.
The Board of School Directors has adopted policies prohibiting the possession, use, transmission, or sale of drugs, alcohol, and other controlled substances, including prescription medications, on or while in school buildings, on school property, or off school property at any school activity, function, or event. Violation of Board Policy number 227, drugs and alcohol, will result in the following: suspension from school for up to 10 days, a hearing with either the superintendent or the school board discipline committee and possible expulsion, referral to the Student Assistance Program, also known as SAP, possible referral to the police. For violation of Board Policy number 222, tobacco, it may result in suspension, a fine, and/or possible prosecution before the district judge.
School board policy requires written documentation from the parent and physician giving permission for medication to be administered by the school nurse unless self-administered by the student upon written request. It must be provided to the nurse in the original labeled container, and except for emergency respiratory devices, all medications must be kept in the health room.
Weapons are defined here at Manheim Township Middle School as including any tool, instrument, or implement capable of inflicting serious bodily injury, includes weapon replicas and spray irritants used in an offensive manner. This also includes razor blades from disposable razors, etc. A student who is in possession of a weapon when the weapon is found on the person of the student in the student's locker, under the student's control while on school property, on property being used by the school, at any school function or activity, at any school event held away from the school, or while the student is coming to or from school.
The school board prohibits students from possessing and bringing weapons and replicas of weapons into any school district buildings, onto school property, to any school-sponsored activity, and onto any public vehicle providing transportation to school or a school-sponsored activity. Violation of this policy will result in an immediate suspension of up to 10 school days, a discipline hearing with the school board and possible expulsion, and a referral to Manheim Township Police.
Transportation on school vehicles is a privilege granted to students by the Manheim Township School District. All school rules and policies apply when students are in or around the school vehicle or at the school bus stop. Students are required to sit in their assigned seats. Bus drivers cannot wait for late arrivals at the bus stops. Students should be at their bus stops at least 10 minutes before the designated pickup time. Students must remain seated the entire time that they are on the bus or a van. Students should never place any part of their body out of the bus window or throw anything on or from a bus. Once you're dropped off at the middle school, students need to immediately enter the building. Waiting at the bus port for your friends is not acceptable. Failure to follow this rule could result in detention.
This school year, water bottles will be provided by Manheim Township School District. The water bottles must contain water.
Attendance. Excuse cards must be submitted within 3 days of your return from an absence. We need the date, reason, and parent signature on excuse notes. If you fail to return a note to the office within 3 days, the absence will be permanently coded as unlawful.
Students who arrive to school after 7:25 a.m. are tardy and must report to the main office to get a pass to class. Traffic was bad, I overslept, and I missed the bus are not acceptable reasons for lateness. These types of excuses will be marked as an unexcused tardy. If you accumulate numerous tardies, you will be subject to disciplinary consequences.
Students going on educational trips or vacations must submit a written request to the main office at least 5 school days before the trip is taken. It is your responsibility to ask your teachers for the work you will miss while away. You should ask for the work at least 1 week before you leave for vacations. All work should be turned in the day you return from vacation.
According to Manheim Township School District Board Policy 237, electronic devices, including cell phones and headphones, are permitted on school grounds and at school-sponsored activities and on buses. However, they should be off and out of sight here at Manheim Township Middle School during the school day. Electronic devices used without the permission of a teacher will be confiscated and returned to the student. Depending on the circumstances involved during the confiscation of the device, disciplinary consequences may also be assigned. It is expected that cell phones and personal devices are off and in their locker at the start of the school day and remain in their locker until the end of the school day. The school is not responsible for the safekeeping of these devices and will not be responsible for lost, stolen, or damaged equipment. In addition, students may not use MP3 players, iPods, CD players, or headphones in the building during the school day from 7 o'clock to 2:30, unless directed otherwise by their teacher. Headphones, Beats, earbuds will not be visible or hanging around your neck and must be put away as soon as you enter the building. The device could be confiscated if students do not comply with these guidelines. Again, the school district is not responsible for the safekeeping of these devices and will not be responsible for lost, stolen, or damaged equipment. Lastly, laser pointers and other devices are considered dangerous and should not be brought to school. If confiscated, they will not be returned per school district policy.
Nuisance objects are defined as items that create a disturbance and should not be brought to school and will be confiscated. Confiscated items may be returned on the last student day. There are some examples listed below.
When signing out of class, a student should take their iPad to the QR code located in the classroom. They will open the camera app and scan over the QR code to enter in the reason for leaving the class or returning to the class and their destination. When signing out of class, students will ask the teacher to sign out of the classroom. The student will then complete the digital sign-out information. When a student is going to another teacher during REM, it is their responsibility to get a pass from the teacher they are going to prior to 7:25 a.m. When visiting the office or counseling office, please make sure you sign in at the reception area.
At the middle school, public displays of affection, also known as PDA, are not permitted. Students are not permitted to engage in the following: prolonged hugging, holding hands, kissing, and we do expect that you are maintaining your social distance from peers. Additionally, gum is not permitted in the middle school.
On this slide, you will find the daily bell schedule for Manheim Township Middle School. You should have familiarized yourself with this schedule so far, but if not, take a moment to review. Thank you for your attention during this video. On behalf of the entire middle school staff, we wish you all a safe and successful school year.
Work hard, make good choices, and take advantage of the many opportunities you will have during your time here at MTMS.